Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here. This has been an incredibly difficult week for our city. We're still reeling from the shooting at Skyline High School on Wednesday and then at Laney College on Thursday, where we lost Coach John Beere, a beloved mentor to thousands of Oakland's young people. Today, Mayor Barbara Lee is going to make an important announcement regarding the Oakland Police Department's leadership transition. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Lee.
Well, first of all, thank you all for being here. I want to thank, first of all, Chief Mitchell, Assistant Chief Beere, Council Member Kevin Jenkins, President of the City Council here, Council Member Brown, Council Member Wong, Council Member Ken, where's Ken? Right here. Ken Houston, here you are. And also our Assistant City Administrator, Michelle Phillips, for joining us today. This, as you know, has been an incredibly difficult week for our city. Coach John Beere, who is a giant in Oakland and mentored thousands, and I mean thousands of young people over more than 45 years, was shot at Laney College yesterday and passed away today. My deepest condolences go out to his wife, Cindy, and his daughters, Monica and Sonia. Coach Beame's legacy isn't measured in championships or statistics, even though they are great. It's measured in the thousands of young people he believed in, mentored, and refused to abandon, including my nephew, while at Skyline High School. He gave Oakland's youth their best chance, and he never stopped fighting for them. And just one day before Coach Beere was shot, on Wednesday, a student was shot at Skyline High School. He is recovering, and we are grateful that he survived. Wednesday and Thursday, 2 consecutive days, 2 shootings on our campuses. A student lucky to have his life, and a beloved coach who lost his. This is the gun violence crisis playing out in real time. In the places where our young people, and staff, and administrators, coaches, everyone should feel safe. Our work continues to get guns off of the streets of Oakland. The work of public safety requires strong leadership, accountability, and an unwavering commitment to protecting our community, which brings me to the reason why we're here today. Last month, Chief Floyd Mitchell informed me of his decision to step down on December 5th. And I want to thank him again for his tremendous service and his leadership during a very critical period for our city and for our police department. Today I'm announcing that I have appointed Assistant Chief James Beere as an Interim Chief of Police, effective December 6th. Now this appointment follows the process outlined in Measure S1, which Oakland voters approved in 2020 to establish our police commission and to create a collaborative framework for selecting police leadership. I made this decision in consultation with the chair of the police commission, who could not be with us today but has issued a statement. Interim Chief Beere has served the Oakland Police Department for over 2 decades. He has the trust of the officers that he'll lead, the respect of community partners that he's worked alongside, and a demonstrated commitment to both constitutional policing and the reforms that Oakland has fought for. I'm also announcing that I have appointed Assistant City Administrator Michelle Phillips to serve as a new role as Interim Constitutional Policing Administrator. Now, Ms. Phillips is our former Inspector General here in Oakland, California. She's the former Director of Civil Rights in Minneapolis, and also the Deputy Inspector General, former, in Baltimore, Maryland. Assistant City Administrator Phillips will work directly with Interim Chief Beere to strengthen our internal accountability structures, providing additional oversight and coordination for internal affairs investigation, policy development, internal audits, and resource allocation. Also, she will help complete, and I know residents want this done, complete the 3 outstanding tasks required by the negotiated settlement agreement in our goal to end this oversight. She will continue reporting directly to the city administrator and work closely with the executive command to ensure transparency and accountability during this transition. Now, these appointments reflect our commitment to a unified, stable, accountable, and effective policing. Public safety requires both strong operational leadership and robust accountability systems working in partnership. While we have named an interim police chief, let me be clear about what happens next, because this is not the end of a process, it's really the beginning of one. Now, under Measure S1, the Police Commission will now lead a comprehensive search for Oakland's next permanent police chief. The Commission, with the assistance of the City Administrator, will prepare and distribute a job announcement and conduct a thorough recruitment process. The Police Commission will interview candidates and provide me with a list of at least 3 finalists to consider. I will then appoint one person from that list or reject the list in its entirety and request a new list from the Commission. This is a transparent and inclusive process by design. It ensures community input through the Police Commission while maintaining mayoral accountability for the final decision. That's what Oakland's voters chose, and that's the process we will follow. A priority, and I hear this over and over again, will be identifying candidates who know Oakland and its public safety requirements, its culture, its people, its history, and its commitment to reducing crime and ensuring accountability for our residents. We will conduct a thorough search while moving efficiently to provide stable leadership for OPD. Also, throughout this transition, our commitment to the negotiated settlement agreement, that's the NSA, remains absolute. Compliance is not negotiable, and that will continue under Interim Chief Beere's leadership. I have full confidence in Interim Chief Beere, in the women and men also of the Oakland Police Department, and the process ahead. Oakland is safer today than it was a year ago, and that's a fact. And we will continue, though, and we must continue building on that process. So thank you again for being here, and I'd like now to bring forward, and I know you know him well, our Interim Chief, James Beere.
Good afternoon. First, I'd like to thank Mayor Lee, as well as the elected leaders up here, City Administrator Johnson as well, and Chief Mitchell. Thank you for all that you've done the last 18 months. And you've been a great mentor to me, and I've learned a lot from you, and the community has really loved your leadership within the city. That being said, I'm committed to make this transition as seamless as possible. I've been working directly with Chief Mitchell now since he arrived here in Oakland, and we're going to continue on that work. We have a lot of work ahead. You know, my thoughts are for the Beam family and all the victims of violence that have been exposed to this unnecessary and tragic gun violence that we've been experiencing. But we have been able to reduce overall crime 28% and violent crime 20%. So we're going to continue on that efforts. I also want to thank the men and women of the Oakland Police Department for their steadfast devotion to duty and continued commitment to the safety of this great city. I want to thank the community as well. You know, I live in Oakland, my family is in Oakland, I've raised my boys here in Oakland. I'm vested in the success of our community. That will continue for the rest of the time I'm here. I'm here to support as we go through, you know, this search for the next chief of police, and I'll make sure that we'll be in a good place for them whenever he or she ends up being picked, and that's the goal for me as we continue through this process. The commitment for constitutional policing and our focused effort towards the minority, the small number of people committing violent crime in this city that's impacting the vast majority of those that are experiencing violence is continuing. We're going to focus on the people that are driving the violence, and we're going to continue to build our trust within the community as well as the partnership. I think it's very important. I've, obviously navigated the department through difficult times. We're seeing an improvement, but even that improvement is impacted. If you're one person that's affected by crime, it's very real to you and your family, and I think that's something we've experienced the last 3 days. So we're going to continue to work together as a team, and hopefully one day we won't have to have news conferences talking about a loved one in our community that's suffered. That being said, I look forward to working with all the elected leaders, the community, as well as Ms. Phillips here as we go forward and address the concerns within the city. So thank you.
Good afternoon, all, and thank you for being here. As was stated, I am Michelle Phillips, and I have the pleasure of serving as the Assistant City Administrator in this amazing city. I want to first acknowledge that these last few days have been extremely hard for all of us as we try to understand these most recent acts and events of violence. I want to make sure that we are all lifted and remain steadfast as we learn, we grow, and we mourn the death of Coach Beere, as well as the other victims, families, and others impacted. My thoughts are with them, family, and community as we continue to feel this movement. I am honored for the opportunity to help implement Mayor Lee's vision for constitutional policing in the city of Oakland that is unified, stable, accountable, and effective. I will be acting in the role of Constitutional Policing Administrator by embedding in the Oakland Police Department, working closely with Interim Chief Beere and the dedicated Police Department leadership team as we shape the vital components of this role. Our goal is to establish better supportive systems for our dedicated members of the Oakland Police Department, rooted in procedural justice, equitable policing practices, and community-centered as we continue to build trust with all the communities we serve. Over the next several months, I will be leading the work to develop this position into a permanent leadership role that can help ensure sustained reform efforts for our community, our city leadership, and our officers that we count on every single day. Many of the specifics of this role are what I will be working on together with the department leadership and community to define. But I do want to share some initial thoughts about this vision. The Constitutional Policing Administrator position will work to ensure transparency and accountability through guidance, advisement, oversight, evaluation of procedures, policies, practices through the operational management of constitutional policing, community trust, equity, and related programs, systems, and projects within the police department. This position works closely with the Chief of Police and Executive Command, as previously stated, focusing on areas within the Bureau of Risk Management, Internal Affairs Bureau, Finance, as well as Human Resources. The incumbent will report directly to the City Administrator, who is currently City Administrator Johnson or their designee. They will continue to advise the mayor on constitutional policing practices and negotiated settlement agreement tasks. To allow me to build this out, the job duties of this role I will be assuming will be to assist stabilizing systems and resources for sound internal police accountability structures within this department. Consistent with communication with the city leadership, this is vital and will be paramount. I am grateful to Mayor Lee for her leadership in leading this vision with intention, compassion, purpose, strength, and with our community at its core. This step that she has taken is a clear example of her commitment to the negotiated settlement agreement, building upon the work that the city and the department has done over the years. Lastly, I am thankful for the opportunity to help execute this vision with support, expectations, and determination as I work with Interim Chief Beere, as well as the internal and external stakeholders within the city of Oakland. to make sure that this is a safe and just city for us all. Thank you.
First of all, I want to thank Mayor Lee and her leadership over this last year. This has been a great experience for me, meeting some fantastic people, working with City Administrator Johnson, and especially this new slate of council members in looking at addressing the crime within the City of Oakland and the negotiated settlement agreement. When I spoke with the mayor just over a month ago and tendered my resignation, what I promised her and committed to her that I would be here and support her in this transition, and that's what I'm here for. When I first got here, I had the opportunity to promote Chief Beere to the position of Assistant Chief. The Assistant Chief's position is the second in command of the Oakland Police Department and handles the day-to-day operation. We have a lot of good leaders over in the Oakland Police Department, and Chief James Beere stood above them all. The decision to appoint him as the interim chief of this department is an easy one. And I look forward to seeing him blossom in this position, in this role, as he supports the mayor and the city administrator in the public safety of Oakland as we move forward. I will continue to support the mayor, the chief, city administrator, and the men and women of the Oakland Police Department and this community over the next month, and I will be wishing and praying for nothing but the best for this city as you guys move forward.
We're talking to families because young people should not have access to guns, period, full stop. We know that there are ghost guns around. We also know California has some of the strongest gun control, gun safety measures than any other state. But we also know that guns can be transported from other states, which is taking place. Gun tracing is still not what it should be in terms of the ability to trace guns. I served in Congress for 27 years, and I was on the gun violence task force, so the federal role is extremely important for families to understand, but also families need to know that we're here for them, and we want our young people especially to know that we have a Department of Violence Prevention, we have alternatives for our young people, we have ceasefire, we have trusted messengers who are working with our young people to try to help them develop their paths forward in their lives, and that if they have any issues with their children that they may think they need some help with, their phone numbers to call, and we'll get that information up, that they can receive the type of help. Could be mental health intervention, it could be other types of intervention. So I think it's a complex strategy that we must embark upon. We don't, and young people should not have access to these weapons of war. And there's too much access to guns. We met with the Brady campaign to develop a regional strategy as it relates to gun violence. So we're working on that. So I want the parents to know that your elected officials, your police department, your Department of Violence Prevention, your council members, we're all working together to try to get these guns out of the hands of those that really should not have them, and especially our young people.
So first off, Henry, thank you for the question, and I'll start off with this. The two juveniles that were arrested at Skyline actually were in possession of ghost guns, something we just discussed about earlier today. It's obviously completely unacceptable. We have a problem here in this community that's reflected nationwide. Access to guns, especially amongst our young people, is all too common, and unfortunately it's leading to violence. I do want to mention that we are on the right track. We went 29 days without a homicide up until the events that occurred this week. 29 days. We should be able to go year-round without someone having to die due to violence here. We've recovered more firearms recently than we had at the same rate this time last year or before. We're instituting the ceasefire strategy that's been proven successful nationwide. In fact, in Oakland's been looked at as a model of how to implement it. I do have a message, though, that the men and women of the Oakland Police Department are not going to go home at night or stop investigating or hold people accountable that commits acts of violence within our community. We're going to leverage technology as a tool to hold people accountable, to track them down. If you commit a crime, We are going to continue looking for you, and we will find you. The unfortunate events of this past week, every person that engaged in that unacceptable behavior and committed acts of violence have been tracked down and arrested. And all the firearms that were used in those incidents have been recovered. So we're here to prevent crime. We're here to give people an opportunity to put the guns down. We have an event that's coming up this Saturday, Guns to Gardens. It's a gun buyback program that's going to take place at Mount Zion Church right here in West Oakland. I implore anyone that has a firearm in their house, if you feel compelled to do so, please come, turn it in, and we'll turn that weapon of violence into a garden tool. But I want to let everyone know and to make it clear that if you commit an act of violence or you're running around the street with a gun, we're working with our community, our law enforcement partners throughout the region, our business owners and merchants, and the residents to take you off the street and take that gun off the street. And it's a new day in Oakland and Alameda County. We are charging people for weapons violations. We're not charging. The district attorney's office has been charging people for weapons violations to include enhancements. So I ask people not to engage in gun violence. I ask them to put the guns down, but if you don't, you will be held accountable. Thank you.